And we start in the Eastern Cape, where it is day 5 of the Cradock Four inquest set to resume in the Gqeberha High Court, with Fort Calata's son Lukhanyo continuing with his testimony. His mother, Nomonde Calata, is also expected to testify. Now, this week, there were inspections on location by the Gqeberha High Court and the Nxuba at Nxuba to gather evidence in inquest. SABC News reporter Kim Daniels standing by. And Kim, good morning. You've been following these developments and, of course, the inquest being taken to the various locations, including the site where the actual murders took place. So talk to us about what's to be expected today, now that we know that the families will be giving their evidence in the inquest.
Morning, Sakina. You are very right. It's been a very long, very emotional week for these families. And, even for bystanders listening to the testimonies at these inspections on Loco, whereby they were explaining, the people who were there at the time, exactly what had happened. As you mentioned earlier this week, we were at the death scenes of each of the Cradock Four. The brother-in-law of Mhlawuli, he explained that he was part of that search party looking for those bodies. He explained how he smelt the petrol, how they found the car burnt, they found bodies burnt, and actually tortured and mutilated these bodies. So, it's been very emotional. It's been a bit of a roller coaster as well. And then obviously culminating into yesterday, where ex-activist, or former activist rather, Professor Derek Swart, he was also a comrade of Gqeberha and Calata. He was just explaining what it was like, and at that time in the early 1980s, how the Eastern Cape was the epicenter for to overthrow the apartheid government at the time. And Professor Swart was actually one of the last people to see the Cradock Four alive, as he attended that meeting that they were at here in Port Elizabeth at the time, now known as Gqeberha. And he said he did urge Gqeberha to stay here, as it wasn't safe to travel that late at night. It was around 9 p.m. and to only stop for police or for traffic officers. And unfortunately, that's what happened. They were followed. As we mentioned earlier in the week, a lot of their homes were bugged, their cell phones were bugged, or their phones at that time, there were no cell phones, were bugged. So they had to speak in code, they had to speak in secret. So it was really a rough time. And then obviously emotions on a high again when Calata's son Lukhanyo took the stand. He was explaining to the judge how disappointed and how heartbroken they are by the regimes that followed post-1994, who did nothing to help the families find justice. The same people who fought alongside their fathers has done nothing for the past 40 years. So it's going to be quite interesting today. Lukhanyo will continue his testimony, and his mother Nomonde will take the stand a little bit later this afternoon. So we'll hear what she has to say. And next week this inquest will continue, where the rest of the families, witnesses, will come forward to give their testimony about how these past 40 years actually have been. But for now, from us here in Gqeberha, it's back to you guys in studio.
Well, thank you so much, Kim Daniels, following that reopened inquest into the deaths of the Cradock Four for us.